Fuck those guys.
You know
where they are now, Lee Bob? They're fucking fat, fucking their fat wife with their shitty kids, doing shit that's not even interesting, driving around in a stupid car, and the excitement of their Saturday was going to Jiffy Lube to get their oil changed so they could work their way over to Giant Eagle to see this one hot cashier who's definitely no older than 17. They're pieces of shit, man.
Grown-up, human, comic, people! Grown-up, human, comic, people!
So, like say you're like a business person, there should be like a little closet or something, like everybody. Before making
the masturbatorium, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Before you sign a deal, everyone goes in there for like 5-10 minutes. They come back out, they sit at the table, and they're like, okay, so is everybody ready to talk about this?
I think we need to bring this to the UN, and before our world leaders actually discuss our fate, they got to go jerk off in this room for a little bit, and then actually have a reasonable discourse. I think less people would die in wars if that was the like imagine if like I'm trying to think of like one of the big
aside from Helen of Troy, I'm not sure about that. I mean.
No, think about this. Like, the UN, like in the council, they have it's like a big room with tables and shit.
Just jerking underneath.
I was gonna say each desk has a pocket pussy and a dildo just underneath it. So you can't see below the waist. So like, everyone's just like, all right. So is everyone ready? And then everyone just like you just hear like.
No, but there's a button you push in front of and in between each person are screens, so you don't have to look at the person across from you. They just like come up like those fancy TVs, You're just sitting there like,
yeah. And then
when you're done, you pass it over the person next to you, so it rotates, so that way everybody has to
I was thinking all at the same time.
You're all in it together. You know what I mean? There's a lot of trust there. Yeah.
I see. That makes a bonding experience.
This is definitely a Black Mirror episode.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, I like there's that thing, the disciplinary action for students now, like young kids. If they're doing bad shit at school, they'll take them to this, like they'll do a mindfulness thing. So them sit there and meditate, and they showed it's worked really well at curbing these shitty behaviors. Now imagine if, like, the police on South Side, when people are being dickheads and they're about to start a fight, which is, like, inevitable every weekend, like, they just would grab you by the arm and take you to the jerk-off room. And, like, before you guys do anything else, just rub one out.
Yep.
People emerge out of there, like, their shoulders are lower.
I think Uber can
relaxed.
integrate that into their model too. Like Uber can also function as that on wheels masturbatorium in the South Side.
Oh yeah, mobile masturbatorium.
Yep.
Yeah.
You could even do it like on the way home, just like so you want, or before you decide to take someone in your Uber with you. Yeah. You just do it real fast, and you're like, you know what? Maybe you should get your own Uber.
Well, see, I typically do, but I just don't want the shame attached to it anymore. I want to feel that like I can do without judgment. So I think Uber needs to adopt their model in order to, better serve my lifestyle. I identify with jacking off in the backs of Ubers. It's for my mental health, and I think my voice should be heard.
A little more fantastical, but you should definitely jerk off before you take one of your wishes from a genie. Like,
oh yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. You get 3 wishes, and notice you fuck it up every time because nobody ever takes the time to jerk off before they make their first wish.
But what if you like fucked up and you used one of your wishes while you were jerking off? Like the genie's waiting for you to finish, and you're just like, "Oh man, I wish I could just come right now." Boom, you come. It's huge. Oh fuck, there it goes. That was such.
You're a fucking idiot. That's your fucking fault. You don't know how to use wishes.
Why are you jerking off in front of the genie in the first place? You're supposed to be in the back of the Uber jerking off, and then you go talk to the genie.
Well, no, because if you have to make the wish, like the chances are you didn't know you were going to meet the genie. It's a big moment. And you got
Could you imagine that genie? Fuck, he's like this again. He goes out there.
Someone always wastes at least one on jerking off.
It gives it gives a whole new like sort of meaning to like the rubbing of the lamp. You know what I mean?
I was just thinking that. I was trying to think how
to
a whole new
put
direction. That in there.
Yeah,
And I couldn't figure it out.
Somewhere.
Yeah, there's somewhere in there, probably involving a penis.
We actually no. You know what? That's what it's called. Before you make a decision, it's called rubbing the lamp. When you jerk off before you make a serious decision.
Yeah. Before you make your wish.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Rubbing the lamp.
Rub
I
the
like
lamp.
that.
Yeah.
Smart.
You need to go home and rub the lamp. You need to go somewhere private and rub the lamp.
Yo, dude, go back there, just rub the lamp for a second, and then talk to me. I
That
can't
is
deal with
fucking
you right now.
genius. God damn it.
Like, rub the lamp. This one's called
Rub the lamp. God, someone's going to steal that, and we're going to be really pissed off when they make a bunch
it'll
of
be
money
great.
on that.
It's
And-
recorded. They
Yeah.
can't steal it. This is it. What time? What
Well, as
day
far
is
as
it?
I know, I'm
What
the
time
only
is it?
person who actually owns
It
a
is
genie
4:38,
that's in a lamp.
May
so-
20th,
Okay.
2017.
Okay, so that time stamped May 20th
May 20th at
at 4:38. We came up with the phrase "rub the lamp."
2017.
You're welcome, the internet.
For jerking off before an
Documented.
important decision.
Yes,
And noted.
That's the definition of that. So let's get into the episode, I guess. Right? We're already
let's do it.
some nonsense. All right. So welcome to the show. I'm not sure how Jared's going to edit that, but you might have just listened to like 5 minutes of us talking about fucking nothing at all.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But it was really, I think it was quality.
I think we got a lot of
Yeah,
places.
I think that's really good.
Yeah. So this is Volume 2, Episode 32 of Grown-Up Human Comic People. Welcome to the show. We are the humans. Let's introduce everybody. I'll go around to everybody, and then I'll get to our guest at the end. Chris, J-Man.
Chris, why do you keep doing that?
Don't answer that. Dan?
But keep doing it, and because Greg's not here, like I want to agree on that. Do that every time because he really fucking hates it.
That's exactly why I'm doing it, because I know it's curdling people.
I wanted you to say that. That's why I asked.
Because it's childish.
That was Chris again, I think.
I'm glad. I'm so
welcome,
glad
Greg.
we're here. Greg, you're welcome. I'm Jared. We're the humans. We got a special guest. We got Ziggy Sawdust on the show. Ziggy, say what's up to everybody.
What up?
Yeah, we're thanks for coming out.
Oh, hell yeah. Thanks for having me.
Of course, yeah. We talked about you having it on for a while.
I
think
think the first time we were talking about it was probably whenever I ran into you in the South Side about...
No, that was the second time because the
That
first time
was
was
the
at
second
Spirit.
Oh,
we were talking
that's
on the
right.
basement of Spirit.
That's right, man.
The second
Yeah.
time we were both drunk as fuck.
Yes, we were. Yes,
Yeah.
indeed we were. I think we were outside Delaney's for like one of Red Fishbowl's events or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I was
last
tuned
summer.
up.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
that was a fun event.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Carla,
For sure. It's like I
Carla
think it was
Ware.
like Space Fish and a few other people played. It was a good time.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah.
Shout out to Carla for organizing that.
Oh, hell
that
yeah.
was, That was a sweet. That was fun.
I had never been to a show at that place, and it was.
We were fucked too.
We were really
We
drunk,
were
yeah.
super fucked.
I thought someone stole my wallet because I had like gotten it out to like I think I made to give you a business card. I think Ziggy.
Yeah.
And I got it. And I was holding it, and like I reached to get my wallet, and I was like, "What?" And someone had just like bumped past, and there was a lot of people. Someone just bumped past me. I was like, "Fuck! I think someone just fucking stole my wallet." And I literally started running down the street, and I was like running. I was like, and I looked at my hand. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Wow.
And I came back, and I just didn't say anything to anybody. I was like, "Anyway, what were we saying?"
Oh man. But yeah, what we whenever we were first talking at Spirit, I think we got into a conversation about the philosophical interpretation of what is Batman,
Right.
You know, and what his identity represents and things like that. And
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure enough, you mentioned your podcast, and here I am.
Yeah.
A year and a half later.
Yeah.
Wait, so
on
what did
time.
that conversation sound like?
I don't remember exactly where we went with it. but
Oh
like-
yeah, well I just know from I can't remember the exact conversation, but I know what I would have said. Like I know my drunken rambles pretty well, and specifically pertaining to Batman, one of the ones that I whenever I look at his character, one of the things I think is the most interesting is the fact that unlike any other superhero, it's not the lack of a power, because that's something that's really common that everybody references, right? But one of the things is that he is on the he's had a mental break where he, at some level, if you look at the original interpretation of who Batman was before he was sort of turned into a more polished, more Bruce Wayne type of constructed character, the guy was out of his fucking mind. It was always on a very sketchy, somewhere in between the spectrum of being on the side of the law and not, and would be in these situations where he'd be trying just to restrain himself from murdering motherfuckers everywhere. Right. So you have this sort of construct that's also, yeah, sure, he's a superhero, but he's also just a crazy guy in a bat suit.
Yeah.
He's just out of his fucking mind. Just an average dude just dressing up in a bat suit and running around and fucking people up. one of your friends told you they were doing that, like, bro.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, man, what time we going out tonight?
I'm like, why'd you tell me that? I don't want to know this shit.
No, I definitely
Hang out anymore.
I'd do it at least one night. I'd do it once. Someone told me they were going out and, like, beating up really bad people.
I believe it's called going on patrol.
Going on patrol. Yeah. But we're going on patrol tonight.
If somebody told me they were going on patrol, I would definitely come with them at least once.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a GoPro, too.
I'm staying like probably about 20 feet back.
But let's just say we're not in a universe where Batman already exists, and
Sure.
your friend just is like, look, dude, I got this bat suit. And now I'm going to go around. I'm going to find all the bad people. You know what I mean? Like we've been conditioned to accept the premise of Batman, but if you take it as an abstract and you apply it onto any sort of reality,
right.
It gets really murky really quick. As far as like, at what point do I call the cops on Bob because he's just going around and just murking motherfuckers left and right? You know, like you have to account for like. Whoa, like this is a guy who, sure, he was like well-trained fighter and everything, lost his mind, parents died, all this stuff, psychotic break, you know, fell into the well, the bat's trauma, well, depending on like which interpretation you're going with, right? But, you know, he gets traumatized and the correlation to his PTSD is, you know, a bat. And so that's his signifier. And so that signifier then is how he conducts himself and how his identity is manifested that is bringing justice to people is through his own fear construct, right? Through his own like post-traumatic stress. And so you look at him like the guy is just somebody who is really damaged, who is now enforcing his own morality at will, which of course you're going to get into murky waters with that because it's probably one of the most human interpretations of somebody taking a path, like almost taking a leap of faith that they know how to best protect the group, right? Right. Because that's essentially what he's doing.
Wait, but have you ever heard of police officers? Talk about a fucking murky path to establishing that they're the right person to determine what's right and fucking wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Those crazy bastards are congressmen, senators.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
These presidents. Yeah.
Well, sure, but imagine if a guy showed up and said he wanted to be a cop and he was dressed in a bat suit and we don't have the framework of Batman to make it seem not weird, you know? Like, you'd be like, no, we're not giving you a badge, dude. I'm sorry.
I might be convinced of his conviction. Like you are convicted. Let's have a very, very clear outline of where you set you know the boundaries for right and wrong. Mm-hmm. And once you tell me, I'm going to believe that that's where you draw the line.
And also, I know this man is not doing this job on this because of ego.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, like in some ways, that would be much more convincing than like the average.
It's sort of the death of the ego, right? Because he's holding this duality of identities.
Right. He sacrifices
he's still being Bruce Wayne,
which he sacrifices though to a degree because people think Bruce Wayne's a piece of shit.
Oh yeah,
like he doesn't give a fuck about what people actually think about him. Yeah. So his ego is completely gone.
Oh yeah, he's been vilified by Gotham. Like also, Bruce Wayne is constantly being vilified, and so is Batman.
Right.
Like every time Batman does something and something like weird happens, Gotham's like, "What the fuck, man?"
Yeah.
You know, like every single time something goes wrong with anything, Gotham is so ready to be like, "No, fuck this guy. This guy's a piece of shit. We're done."
Right.
You know.
Right.
Like we've tolerated it. He seemed cool at first, made good headlines, but now, dude, there's a crazy person running the streets in a bat suit. This has to stop.
Yeah.
You know. But that's the thing is I feel like that if there were a more honest description of Batman, like I would love to see a movie that actually explored Bruce Wayne being more common as far as not having all the necessarily the resources and just sort of like just take it down a notch to a random guy even gets inspired to be like Batman dressed like in London. What happened? Right?
Super. You seen Super?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Rainn Wilson?
Michael Rapp. No.
Rainn Wilson with the fucking red.
Shut up,
I
crime.
was going to say Hero. I'm thinking of Hero with Michael Rappaport.
Okay.
That was one where he just all of a sudden decides to be a superhero, but and it sort of fits like what I'm kind of thinking of. Because I think it'd be really interesting to see like, well, not that. Shout out to Michael Rappaport, but I don't think he'd make a good Batman. Not that I'm saying Michael Rappaport should be Batman. I do think that the idea of an average guy just having a break, you know, at some level that isn't even as dramatic, but then he's like, you know what, I'm going to be like Batman. I'm going to go out and I'm going to fight crime. I'm going to buy a bat suit and fight crime, you know. And there was somebody in London that actually did that like a year and a half ago, got dressed up in a bat suit and beat up somebody who was dressed as a clown. He beat up one of those clowns.
Oh, I remember that.
Dude, you remember?
That was one of the weird
I think
clowns,
that we were talking about that.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things we brought up in the conversation, that somebody just decided like, no, fuck it, I'm Batman. They're clowns wandering the street scaring people.
Yeah.
I'm going to beat the fuck out of those clowns.
Oh, that's how the conversation got started because because the crazy clown thing was happening, and somebody said something
Batman's
about that.
real. That's why I think
Right.
that's one of the first things I said to him. Like, dude, Batman's officially real.
Yeah.
There was a man who dressed up in a bat suit, beat up a clown, made a post to some like 10-year-old kid who was scared about clowns, like, "Don't worry, Batman got this," or some shit, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's in England, no less.
Yeah.
You know,
Wait, I
it
thought
never
the
happened
clowns
again.
were
But
in the States, I thought the clowns were in like Florida.
oh, they were everywhere.
Yeah,
Pretty much, it became this weird internet trend where all these people decide, like, I'm going to freak everybody out and dress up as a clown. You know, and it happened just sort of as like it's this weird thing, man. Like, pop culture is a trip when you look at like some of the weird things that will just happen sometimes.
Yeah.
Like things like, you know, oh well, then all of a sudden there was that weird period of about like 3 months where like, you know, a bunch of people start dressing up as clowns and walking around the streets to freak people
No,
out.
dude.
Like,
Some of those motherfuckers walked up on people's porches with machetes.
Oh,
I'll
yeah,
tell you
yeah,
what.
yeah,
You
yeah,
show
yeah.
up on my porch with a machete. I swear to God, I'm not gonna go out immediately, but I'm gonna wait until you get bored, and I'm gonna open up the door and hit you in the back of the head with like a brick. I'm gonna.
I
grab-
was just gonna say with a brick. I don't know what.
Yeah, with a brick or a cast iron skillet. I have this little cast iron skillet. I'm fucking dinging you right in the back of the head with it. Like, you fucking jerk. Why would you do that? Like, okay, like, dress up, and these guys look like they were adults, too.
oh, they definitely were.
They looked like
definitely
they
were.
weren't like 16-year-old kids. Like, we used to put masks on and like go and try to scare people when we were like, you know.
But now
young
think for a
teenagers.
second. I think we all have that friend that we can think of right now specifically who, like, okay, going through my friend list, who would actually randomly show up in clown makeup? And if I saw they got arrested for dressing up as a clown wandering around with a machete, who would that person be? I think we all immediately just thought of somebody that we're friends with that we could see being somewhat capable of that.
Greg.
You know?
Definitely not Greg.
No, you wouldn't
No,
do that.
not in 1,000 years.
No, one of the many Brians we know. I'm not going to say which one.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't know anyone, but yeah.
Yeah,
I can think of at least 6 Bryans right now.
yeah.
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 I got to go back to this though. Michael Rappaport as Bruce Wayne is one of the things that I want so bad. I mean, because he has like that like New York Jewy type.
Oh, he's great.
And he's so like, you know.
I listened to his podcast.
Oh, it's incredible. I can just
hilarious,
imagine
man.
him
He's
being
fucking
like
great.
Like as Bruce Wayne, he could never let anything go. Like he would get a tuna salad sandwich and he'd be at the deli and like you would hear a bomb go off down the street. He'd be
Well,
like,
did you see Hero?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
no.
dude, it was what you're describing. Like he essentially gets this weird. He takes a weird pharmaceutical experiment, like they're doing like a drug testing, and then he starts hallucinating that he has superpowers. Then he goes out and fights crime. And it's just a fun. I'm not going to ruin the whole movie. I'm not going to go by like all the instances, but he's just a guy. He's like a meter maid essentially. He just goes around, gives people like traffic tickets. You know, and then one day he just like signs up for this test, and then he starts developing these superpowers, and then starts going out and fighting crime and shit like that. It's fucking awesome.
Is it a comedy?
It's comedy, but it has like an earnestness to it, where it's taking itself just seriously enough that you sympathize with the character, like you relate to him.
So it's like Super.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. But it's something. It's definitely worth watching. But that is sort of like. Kind of what I'm getting at, though, is like I would love to see a Batman movie that was more everyman and not this guy who has tons of resources, and watch somebody try to justify it that way. And then also have the villains be equally low key, like not be somebody who has this ability to destroy Gotham, but you know this guy might be just trying to like fucking kill you.
Yeah,
you know you specifically because he's somebody that you just have a beef with. Like it's not like you're any of these arch villains that have the ability to wipe out the masses. It's like no, some just really personal shit comes into your life, and now you have to dress up in a bat suit and fight it off, you know.
It's like a dude who like might try to actually hurt you badly, like maybe not kill you, but like really kick your ass. And you're like trying to avoid this person.
Hey,
like,
that's a conflict right there. That it might not be like, oh, the boat's going to blow up with all the fucking prisoners on board or whatever the fuck, but it's something that it's a serious plot development as far as for your own personal safety, right?
Yeah.
You know, so why not dress up in a bat suit and fight it off? Like that's the thing. Like I would love to see that as a movie because it's like a low scale of the same mythology, and it's more relatable to like what people could actually do. You know, in some.
Are we talking though right now about like? It sounds like we're talking about Kick-Ass.
Kind of.
Like
a little bit.
Kick-Ass,
a little
the first
bit.
one, like
yeah.
But they had sort of a like an exceptional nature about them that led them to be like well trained and be able to fight.
Well, he can't
and
feel
so
pain.
I don't want this Batman to be somebody who is like been like this well trained like jujitsu master or something like that. I'm more interested in having him be like like somebody who's like hits a point of conflict and then sort of snaps, and then he just like takes very direct action on things in his everyday life, and he just happens to be wearing a bat suit. I want to see that
so
fucking
like falling
movie.
down in a bat suit. Falling down in a bat suit. He fucking loses it in traffic. He gets out of the car. He just puts on a
Kind
bat
of, yeah.
mask.
Oh, I mean, Michael Douglas's Batman. I mean, that was a missed opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
Here's what I want. I just thought of this now. I need this to happen. We need to do a GoFundMe or whatever for this. I want Michael Rappaport as Bruce Wayne, and I want Larry David as the Penguin.
Oh, yes. And
Larry
he's a deli owner.
Yeah, he's a deli owner, and he owns a deli. And Michael Rappaport comes in, and he gets like a smoked whitefish sandwich, and he's ready to fucking kill the Penguin. And they both are staring at each other, and they're like, "Do we make this happen?" It's like 3:00 on a Tuesday, and they're like, "Hold on, be right back." And they both go jerk off over it because they don't know if they really want to do this. And then they just come back like, you know what? I jerked off. I rubbed the genie, and it's fine. We're good.
Hold on. So no,
We're going to assume the chronology is going to allow our audience to know that we were talking about
Damn
jerking
straight.
off as a way
Right,
to
right.
resolve
Yeah.
you know,
Well, yeah.
international. You know?
if it doesn't, then they'll know about it later.
Okay.
And we're rubbing the lamp, right?
Sorry, rubbing the lamp. I said
Yeah,
rubbing the
lamp.
genie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's all right. This is new.
Rubbing
We're-
the lamp.
We're trying to get this out into the
Still rubbing the lamp,
ethers.
Yeah,
Definitely.
So my Michael Rappaport, fucking Larry David scenario. Like he goes in there, he orders a sandwich, and Larry David's like, "We don't have that one." And Rappaport's like, "Fuck, all right," because they're both like so New Yorkie and Jewy and stuff, and they're just him like ordering like try to order 5 different sandwiches, and Larry David says like, "We don't have any sandwiches." He's like, "Well, then why did you let me go through the whole list and ask for each one of them?" And Larry David said something like, "Well, you didn't ask me directly. You kept saying sandwiches, and I was just not. I wasn't gonna." And it's just like they become this really shitty argument. And like Michael Rappaport just like turns around and Larry David's like, "All right, well, have a nice day."
But now let's also imagine something that... Oh, go ahead.
he turns. He's just like, "All right, thanks, you fucking penguin." David's like, "What'd you say?" And he's like, "Nothing. Haven't whatever." And then he leaves.
And that's the character reveal right there.
Yeah.
I'd kind of be also interested in a more earnest type of portrayal of like Michael Rappaport and Larry David are actually, they do have this conflict and this like anger. And Larry David, for the first time ever, is playing a serious role where he is like this malevolent, you know, delicatessen owner, and there was some conflict that happened. And Michael Rappaport then actually becomes compelled to dress up in a bat suit, and there is like some sort of skirmish, at least that's a battle over something mundane, you know what I mean? Like at least have it like a little bit like, you know, like you're watching as a viewer, you're like, is this a joke? You know, like I want people to be asking that question the whole time.
Right.
Yeah, but be taking itself seriously enough that you're like, oh, this is still kind of badass, you know what I mean? Like have that duality, you know, a little bit.
Like a moderately intense tussle over a loaf of bread that Larry David's unwilling to give up. Even though he
Oh,
doesn't
most
have any
definitely. But then they're
sandwiches.
actually mad about it, and,
Yeah.
and it's acted out like they're mad, and it creates this rift, even though it's a very mundane occurrence. But they're still meaning it with their performances, you know? I think that would be wildly entertaining. I think we should definitely start this GoFundMe for it.
Yeah,
I like
definitely.
it. I like it.
Brilliant
We're doing
idea.
it.
Brilliant idea.
Coming to theaters summer 2018.
That's a fast project.
Yeah, really.
Gotta get this done.
I'm not fucking around. We're all going to jerk off every day before we start doing any decisions. Get this shit banged out in like 6 weeks.
Oh my god.
Oh, my God.
We could just start. So they have all these like, you know, 30-day challenges, you know, like, the 21-day push-up challenge, the 10,000 kettlebell swing challenge in 30 days. What we're going to propose here on Grown Up Human Comic People today is that we're going to need you to jerk off every day for the next 30 days before you make whatever the big decision for that day is. And write into us and tell us about how that's transformed your life. Tell us about, you know, what that's done, how that's benefited you, how you find yourself in just taking a few minutes out of the day for yourself. Just take a few minutes out of the day, get something comfortable. What do you like? What do you like to lay on? Just lay on that, you know, or stand. Maybe you're a shower person. Maybe you're in the shower.
This is sort of getting into a nice guided meditation type of like delivery. I like this.
Really,
It's good.
really take this moment to
light a candle.
I feel like I'm sitting at the UN and I'm reaching under the table for my pocket pussy or whatever the fuck those things are, you know?
Wait, your screen comes up.
Don't rush into it. But what we're saying here is this is a 30-day jerk off challenge. And
Oh man, what if instead of a 30-day jerk, 30 day?
Are we making people prove
jerk-off
every one?
challenge?
Do we have to see like the
no,
how are we?
this is the
No weens. We don't need to see your ween.
Instead of that, we just
You sure?
we just instate.
I'm sure.
I think I'd love to just get your guys' email inbox flooded with dicks though.
Oh, we
that'd be okay too.
That's
We'll
That's
repost
fine.
them. We'll repost them.
If you
Oh,
have
yeah,
if you have a
perfect.
particularly fancy dick, send it to us. I mean, like if it's fancy, it has to
If
be
it's
fancy.
exceptional,
Though.
yeah.
You better have a top hat and a monocle on that dick.
No, but I think Jared was about to add a very important.
Oh, I was going to say instead of the 30-day thing, we just do what the Europeans do, but instead of taking a nap in noon, everyone just jerks off.
Oh, so what? How do we come up with a name for instead of a siesta? It's a
A camesta?
Oh, yeah.
camesta.
Camesta.
I don't like it. It's too rough around the edges.
Yeah,
Camesta.
Jerk
That-
off.
yeah, that
That's
sounds
something I could put on. I could still put on a taco, so I don't want to.
Yeah.
There's a double. I think there's a wordplay, double entendre pun type of thing in there somewhere. But
But a jerkapalooza.
jerkapalooza.
It just seems
Sounds like a one-day event with a whole bunch.
Yeah, yeah.
The Jerkapalooza
Right.
would be for like our follow-up challenge, which
Many
is
must
to
be
do
gathered, yes.
30 jerk off 30 times in one day. And how does that transform?
All in the
your
same
day?
room, though.
That kills you.
Yeah. Wow. How
Sounds
much
like-
weight have you lost? We didn't take a picture of your weight before. Take a picture of your weight after.
Stay hydrated.
Yeah. No, but really, 30 days, just once a day for 30 days. I think it's going to have a net positive effect on your life.
I would agree.
I think that's definitely true. Yeah, it's the people that I think are the most suspect, or the people that don't believe masturbation is the thing that's allowed. I'm like, oh my god, you're walking around like this.
Yeah.
You're walking around. Someone's going to get hurt. What are you doing, dude?
Yeah. It's like
you know,
walking around with a loaded gun.
Yeah, exactly. Like if people who are not getting laid, then they're actually like walking around telling other people like not to jerk off. I'm like,
Right.
You're trying to end the world, and I don't agree with you, sir.
I don't associate with people like that because those people
Dangerous.
are one shitty circumstance away from fucking shooting you and
Exactly.
everyone around them.
Yes, they're
You
a complete
you stay away
liability.
from them. But I'm sending this out there. And I really want to report back. And
To some of our
so
listeners, I'm sure this will also read as so. Just proceed as usual.
Right. Oh, yeah. I'm sure too, probably a lot of them.
But
Everyone's
if you
like,
want to,
well, yeah,
if you want to level up, if you want to take it to the next level, I
Inspire others to
propose.
do it.
Tweet Michael Rappaport.
Would you say?
Picture your fancy dick.
Suggest it to others as well.
Well, yeah, of course, suggest it to others. But if you want to take it up a level, we're going to suggest that you do it without porn.
No.
So,
Oh, imagination.
the first few days are probably
Old school.
going to be, if you're a normal, like, porn and jerk kind of person, it's going to be tough. But what you're going to find probably around day 7 or day 8 is that your imagination is lighting up. And all of these experiences, maybe historical experiences, maybe experiences with people from your history doing new things you guys have never done before.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe things with the person that you're with.
You might find out something that you didn't know you were into, but like that thought popped in your head for some reason, and you were like, I like that.
And you just rolled with it because
think
you weren't
everybody
being
should have
told
to-
what you should be jerking to. Your mind is creating what it is that you should be jerking to. You're telling yourself.
Yeah.
And so that it is. There it is. The 30-day jerk challenge. And if you want to be pro level, so
You must be
gold
jerking
level-
off to a picture of Abraham Lincoln.
No, because that's also telling you. Because all of a sudden you start being like that's the only thing that gets you off. You know,
me
that's the
something.
problem.
Abraham Lincoln is
I
technically
need this,
porn.
man.
Yeah, and you find yourself being that
Hashtag
fucking
Abraham
weirdo.
Lincoln is technically porn.
You're that weird dude who's like meeting a new person and you guys are about to have that first time together.
Please tweet us pictures of your cum-spattered Abraham Lincoln photographs.
Yeah, and you show up with a little statue of the fucking.
I would be really curious to see Abraham Lincoln's penis.
No.
Debate.
Probably the size of
I'm sure it just looks like a
really
penis.
tall guy.
I mean,
It's like, guys,
Does it have the same beard?
No, of course it does. I mean, back then, everybody, like, I just picture people in general were furrier.
That's
you
well,
know.
well, that's why. Like, I never thought of this until just now. Like, you know how, say, if you're familiar with porn throughout the ages, like some porn, like 70s, 80s, some Bush, and then 90s you get like all like totally shaved off, or like maybe
landing strips,
landing strips. In the 90s. Now we have like a lot of totally shaved whatever.
But no, it's going back to hair now.
What I'm saying though is
I think
like,
a balance
were
is
there
important in everything in life.
were there
including pubic
styles?
hair.
Were there styles back in the day? Like, do people do similar? Did they style their shit? Because I mean, people styled their head hair for the
Dude, they
beginning
had
of time.
merkins back in the day. Merkins,
I
they
know.
were like styled. It was like a vag, whatever. I don't know if dudes wore merkins. I think it was mostly women, but it was like a vag wig.
Right.
So if they're doing that,
That's heavy.
furthermore, in Islam, you have to shave everything.
Oh shit!
Yeah, everything. I learned that from a Muslim friend.
I think it might be putting you on.
No. She was telling me straight up. She was like, yeah, everything.
For the women, you mean?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, because there's like a lot of like hairy Muslim dudes.
How the hell did we get here?
Welcome to the podcast.
Oh my god!
So back in the day, that was a thing. It had to be a thing. I mean, whatever. We had thousands of years ago. They're chopping off the tips of dudes' dicks. You know what? Like, how is
Still doing
trimming
that.
the hair preposterous? Yeah. Oh yeah. It's still
Still the thing. Still the norm.
right.
Yeah.
Still the norm. Everybody still goes and looks and like, well, do I want to cut off part of this child's dick or not? I have to really think about this because I should be allowed to make this decision for somebody else. Oh yeah, cut that. Yeah, get it. Get that thing. Yeah.
I
It's
can't
like
wait.
those really shitty people who get their dogs' tails cut.
Yeah.
Or their
yeah.
fucking ears clipped. You
Or the-
pieces
or
of
Or
shit.
we cut their
or
balls off. I mean, there's that too.
Or they're
I mean,
cats and claws. The claw, that's fucked
like
up.
when we get animals fixed, it's just like basically going against their fundamental like natural state because you're like, nah, the fact that you spray because you have balls is inconvenient to me, so I'm just going to take those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but
pretty
But
wild.
I could. There's more. Sorry, go ahead.
there's more. I think I don't know if this was going to say but there's also like a population control issue when that kind of
Well,
stuff.
oh, sure, yeah, because that's definitely true with like house cats and everything. Because otherwise, I mean, they already
just
kill
have-
like 2 billion birds a year,
Right.
You know,
So, like, do
in
you
the
want-
wild. So they,
Yeah.
But no, just in the United States alone, they kill 2 billion birds annually.
That
house
must
cats,
mean
yeah.
that we have. If it wasn't for the cats, we'd have an overpopulation of birds.
Well, but here's
So-
the thing: are we sure that we don't
Hashtag keep your cats
need more
feral.
birds? You know, like in Australia, they actually hunt cats because there's no overpopulation of cats, and they've been killing off the natural ground dwelling birds because I think this is probably like 60, 70 years ago, they introduced house cats into Australia in order to get some population of some other pest down. And then the cats just went unchecked and grew in these large populations. And then those cats then became such a nuisance that they brought foxes in, I believe, to try to curb the cat populations and shit like that. And then now they have such an overpopulation of cats that hunters actually go out and shoot, like they hunt cats.
What do they do with them?
Fucked
Do
up.
they eat them?
No. They shoot them, keep the populations down because they're killing all the native animals who are native to Australia. And so since they're killing like all these indigenous animals that only exist there, because it was humans who brought these animals to this place.
Yeah, I'm following
and
that
so
part.
like now it's like, well, where's your moral responsibility lie? Does it lie with, oh, cats are cute and so I'm always going to favor cats every time? Or, well, do we want to have like this entire species of bird wiped out?
No,
Or,
I was just
you
getting
know?
at like, what's your incentive? Like,
I just
to
started talking
kill a
about
bunch
shooting
of
cats all of a sudden.
Does the government pay you?
Yeah, like
Is there a guy like covered in cat pelts and like a Boba Fett helmet?
right.
That guy
He's like
definitely
the best fucking cat hunter in the
Oh,
world.
that guy definitely exists.
That's so imagine just like some shitty fucking hicks in Australia, like going out fucking shooting cats, like drinking fucking cans of Miller Lite.
Oh, I got him,
toss them
mate.
off the back of the truck. Yeah.
I tried to kill a cat once on drugs. I told the story on here.
Whoa, what?
I think you have to listen to the
Got
first
some
episode
heavy
we did.
hitters here.
Yeah, I think the first episode we did with Rick Seaback, he told that story. So,
Yeah.
That was one. I'd never heard it before. That was terrifying to. Like,
It was.
It
You didn't want to be my friend for a
I was
second.
fucked up about it. Like I was like, no, do not say this. Do not finish this story, Chris.
But once you get to the end of the story, it's fine.
It's hilarious.
It's fine.
Well, that's for you can just listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for it. I do myself have a controversial cat story where there was one time where, and I used to have a bit too much fun, like back around 2006, somewhere around there. And I remember me and my friend were doing ketamine.
Okay.
And we had a large amount of it. And then something happened across the room. and we're easily distracted at this point. And we look over, go over there, go into the kitchen, come back, and we see the cat is there, and he's licking K off the plate.
Oh my God!
And I'm a cat person. I immediately was like, oh my God, this is a fucking crisis that I'm not ready to deal with, And so the rest of the night we were sitting there, and then the cat was laying right in the middle of us, and we're keeping an eye on it when we're still really fucked up, and then the cat's drooling everywhere, purring so fucking loud, and we all hung out and sat there on the couch in a collective K-hole as a group until morning. It was really a beautiful experience.
Yeah, the cat probably loved it.
In hindsight, but I didn't know the cat was going to make it. Now that I know the cat makes it, it's a good story. But in the moment, I'm like, oh, come on, yes, keep purring. You're okay. I think I'm okay. I'm not sure. The road's getting far away. I'm going further in the tunnel. Where am I?
I was
in the moment, it was a little rough. Yeah.
I was trusting in you that the cat was going to make it for this. Because if the cat hadn't made it,
I couldn't
I'd be
tell that story.
Why would you tell us that?
No. The cat totally makes it. The cat totally made it.
Actually, I have a Dairy Queen story.
Hold on. Let me just at least say where the people can find us.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God.
You didn't even do that yet.
Now that I pissed you off thoroughly with my irresponsibility from over a decade ago, here's how you can find me.
So if you look at this paper, it says there's the title of the podcast, then what episode it is, and then the subtitle, and then we're right there. That's where we are.
Oh, okay. There we go.
We're right.
So we're
above.
making progress.
Yeah, we're
doing well. We're doing well.
We're 1% of the way through the structure of the podcast.
Well, let's keep up the good work, guys.
Oh yeah, this is sometimes we need to do this sort of thing. This is fine. I love it. So you can find us at grownuphumans.com, epicastnetwork.com/grownuphumans. Rate and review us
aggressively.
Aggressively, we'll read whatever you say online. Well, Becky's not here right now. When she gets back here, we'll do the one from Lee.
Right.
Shout out to Lee for doing a rate and review for us. Find us iTunes, Google Music, Stitcher, Libsyn, Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud at Grown Up Human Comic People, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram at Grown Up Humans. Ziggy, do people want to find you? Want people to find you somewhere?
Yeah, Dust on Twitter and Instagram. Leave me alone on Facebook. I don't want to talk to you.
Cool. That's I understand.
I hate Facebook. Just don't talk to me on there.
That's fair. Make sure to go to Southside Comics, 1931 East Carter Street. Get all your comics from Dan. Go to radicaltrivia.com. Come see some trivia shows around town. It's a lot of fun. Check out Midnight Rose, Midnight with a K. J-Man. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I need.
Yep. You go to metamesh.org. Becky and Monkey work on that. They bring free internet to people who need it. So those are the plugs. I feel like we can just go into one of the books.
Yeah, let's jump into it. Yeah,
because we did all that.
We want to start with Eleanor.
No, we'll start with Rose because
okay.
we want to procrastinate as long as possible so Becky has time to get back.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
I'm not sure she will, but so who wants to do Rose?
Well, as far as thoughts
you
on
haven't
it,
done one yet.
You're right. I haven't done one.
You should do it.
All right. So this book is called Rose. It is by Meredith Finch and Egret. Let's see who else is on this book. I don't see the names. Anyway, so this book is it's an image book, and it's a sort of it takes off in a medieval setting. It has sort of there's the preface or whatever. Man, I am kind of drunk now. I'm not doing a good job. So anyway, this book begins with a narration about how back in the day there were these things called cats, Khatz.
We were on topic, you see.
Yeah, exactly. This was planned out the whole time.
Oh, dude, this is very well. Yeah, very well laid out. I'm glad we wrote this earlier.
Yeah, we flowed like water. Mm-hmm. So anyway, back in the day, there were these things called cats, and they were linked with the people called guardians, who exemplified virtue, and they can both wield magic. And something happens where there's a war between an evil queen and the last cat leader, who apparently was killed, and the evil queen took over and presumably controls all the magic in the world now. That she's the only one with any cats left. Cats, by the way, are like big cats, like tigers and panthers and stuff like that are the kind of companions of these guardian people. So we find this woman Rose who lives in the village. This is like a pretty straightforward like hero like origin story.
Kind of like Willow almost. It reminded me of Willow.
Yeah, something like that. Where like she's in her village, she leaves to go take a fucking bath or something. She comes back, her village is burning. It's been ransacked by the Queen's men.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah.
I take a bath and then everything's fucked afterward.
Every
I walk away
time.
for a minute.
Yeah.
Everything's gone.
Sometimes it seems like every fucking time.
I know. The struggle is real.
Yeah. So we cut to the palace of the castle of the Queen, who is like mostly naked. Like it's super gratuitous. I'm not complaining there's boobs because I like boobs, but she's like naked for no reason. And she's I don't know. It's just her being evil, and this cuts back and forth between her and Rose finds a group of people who are apparently rebelling against the Queen, and this woman kind of tells her that she's one of the guardians, like she's a new guardian.
Can I say something about the nudity?
Yeah.
Because she's sitting there being naked and essentially just fucking digging into these people who are, I don't know, lords of her land or something.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just kind of being gross, and she knows that she could just kill them all, and they all know that she could just kill them all. And she's just doing whatever the fuck she wants. It had the same kind of feeling, like when you're a little kid and like, you know, I'm sure I'm not the only one who's had this experience of like your dad taking a shit with the bathroom door open and like him yelling at you like from right outside the door, and like you just have to stand there like while he's on the toilet taking a shit being like reprimanded for something and you can't do anything. It's like, yep, I'm dropping a deuce, I'm taking a shit, and I'm fucking yelling at you.
Yeah, the
and
nudity is very
powerless.
awkward. Yeah. And also how the nudity is drawn by the artist. It looks like the way the skin fits her. I had to look twice because at first I'm like, wait, is she wearing like fabric that's just really tight fitting,
right?
Or is that her skin? And then I'm like, oh wait, that's supposed to be her skin. It looked like a little, I don't know, like oddly articulate as far as that goes. Between that and the cross hatching on all the noses, I don't understand that choice either. But
yeah, I think when she's lying down right here, right there.
Yeah.
I can see. I think he was trying to go for like, you know, the way like some people like their skin kind of like
it's a little bit looser. I get that, but it's it reads more like fabric to me than skin.
I can see that. Now that you say that and I'm looking for it,
you know, like it made me look twice, and so I'm not trying to like rip into the artist. I'm just saying like if my natural response is to have to glance at something twice, I'm like, well, maybe that wasn't the best articulation of expression of like actual skin.
Sure,
you know, it's not really. I don't know. It's awkward. Like all the nudity in many ways, I think it's kind of awkward.
Yeah,
I want to speak to the art of making something PG-13 because you know what? There's an art to that, okay? Because making something PG is easy, making something R is easy. There is an art to making something PG-13. There's something that I feel Steven Spielberg does very well.
Yeah.
When you see something PG-13, it's the illusion that it's more than it actually is, and it makes it okay. We don't read a whole lot of comics that are PG-13, and I feel this is a very big, gross example of that. Is that the last couple of comics we read, it's just everything's fucking hard R. There's pussy everywhere. There's tits all over the place. There's blood everywhere. And I kind of miss that art in comics that I think was actually really well done with like X-Men and X-Force in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's PG-13. It's gross, but you have to use your imagination for how gross it actually is.
Especially with the old '90s X-Men costumes.
Oh yeah,
you're like it's like fucking like the
Psylocke.
White Queen, Psylocke or the White Queen. It's like her vagina is right there.
It is.
Like it's right there. Like her like the White Queen's nipples are like just, but like they're like she had to have like taped them to her whatever uniform.
Yeah.
If you want to call it that, like her swimsuit that she's wearing. Like yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and I really wish that because a lot of these things that we read, and especially with like I guess the influence of Game of Thrones, is probably prevalent in the medieval comics that we read nowadays here, because you know it's just it's accepted, like you know it just go for broke, however disturbing and disgusting you can make it. And I really I cannot recall, honestly, if one of you can, but I can't recall just a good old-fashioned PG-13 comic that we've reviewed. And I miss that, like a little bit of mystery or allure to it, you know? It just doesn't challenge me as much in that aspect of it.
Hearing you talk about it, explain it that way, I'm getting the feeling, again, like getting that feeling of seeing something like, I don't know, Labyrinth or something like that.
Right.
Which for me, really, I don't know if Labyrinth's PG-13, but I'd imagine.
It should be because David Bowie's penis is there the whole
PG,
time.
I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, PG.
He reminds me of the Babe, the big old Babe.
It's PG for penis girth because David Bowie's penis is in that movie.
It's on display pretty
It's on
prominently.
display. Yeah.
Paul Bunyan couldn't cut that shit down.
No.
But I feel like PG-13 is like the middle school of ratings, right?
Yeah.
Because you know what they're getting at. It's like, why don't you just fucking say it?
Yeah.
You know, it's like middle school where everything's weird. Like we understand that like sex is a thing that's going to come very soon. We understand that like, my cock is doing this thing all the time now, or like I'm starting to like whatever. I'm hitting puberty, but like it's like we get it. So like stop fucking talking to us like we don't know what you're getting at.
Well, okay, I get what you're saying, but that's why I'm talking about the art of PG-13.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
like the Spielberg where the actual like act of murder is committed off screen. You just see the red in the river, or
like a Hitchcock even. Like
exactly, yeah.
Right.
Well,
You
early
never see the
Hitchcock, whenever he was forced to have to do that.
Yeah.
Hitchcock's very last movie, Frenzy, is like it's
gratuitous.
disturbing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it like there's like this. Oh man, like he definitely was trying to make up for the fact that he could now actually show tits and like have like really like. I mean, there was a horrific rape scene in his last movie. Like the last one he ever did was like, whoa, dude, like that's unnecessary. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You know, like Hitchcock. It's very odd to see knowing the character that he was and how he treated like all of the actors around him and everything. I'm getting a little bit off topic here, so I apologize. But it's interesting to see like whenever he finally got like, oh, now I can do this. He actually violated one of the things that made him a good artist, which he was being concise. Whenever the way he expressed horror, he wasn't being gratuitous. He didn't need all the imagery that was violent or highly sexual in nature. It could be implied, and it made for better storytelling.
It's like the George Lucas thing with the new Star Wars movies, the special editions. It's like, dude, like you having not the biggest budget for Star Wars makes that movie great.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're allowed
Put
to
it
go
down,
and do
walk
whatever the
away.
fuck you want, then he's gonna go back and fucking ruin it. Like, do too much.
Yeah. Limitations feed creativity.
Yeah.
It does. And
that's great. Well said.
Yeah,
Chris.
and it's something that I think we, especially in our society right now, with a lot of people wanting to force certain limitations on us, we take a blanket statement saying no limitations whatsoever, free everything. That's kind of wrong, I feel. When I want to be creative, I think to myself, like, there are certain things that, actually on this show, a lot of times I limit myself. And we are actually talking about this, I don't know who I was talking about this with, one of you earlier, as to how we have a certain thing where we limit ourselves to what we say on here, because our listening audience, you have no idea, we're way worse people than this. We say horrible things.
That's true. Yeah.
And as comfortable as we are saying terrible things like we do,
And drugging cats.
Still,
Yeah.
straight up murdering cats, man.
Oh shit, we did
Yeah.
kill cats today. That's right.
Yeah. And I like that limitation that puts on us, and I think it actually, some of our best comedy that comes out of this podcast comes from the limitations that is pushed on us.
I think, and kind of like when we did the Pittsburgh Retro Gaming Convention that time, whenever we weren't allowed to swear at all.
When Dan said "fuck" immediately, within 2 seconds,
As soon as we turned the mics on,
4-year-old.
Dan was like, "Listen here, motherfuckers!" Brian was like, "Yeah, don't do that. No, that's the last one. No more."
No. I would just like to say, he told me, use your best judgment. So So I didn't realize that.
That's his fault.
Yeah,
that's his fault.
He
I
should've
just
said-
picture like small children everywhere in the audience.
Kind of, yeah.
Makes it better.
They
Yeah.
were.
No,
I
they
didn't
were.
see
fuck
them.
yeah.
I didn't see them until I said that, and I got told, and I looked around, and then I realized that like half the people that I was looking right over were under the age of 13.
I love your excuse too. You were just like, I was in Cuba. That's an excuse.
I don't know how this country works anymore.
I was there for 10 days. I came back. I don't even know what this place is.
But yeah, not being able to swear, in some ways, makes it kind of funnier because you have to think harder.
Yeah,
you have
for
to
sure.
be more articulate.
And we had some pretty funny like substitute
words,
swears.
Yeah, I told someone to save it.
It's pretty good.
Like I was a middle school
pretty
teacher. Okay, Johnny, well, why don't you just save it, okay? Just save it.
Save it.
But yeah, I mean,
Don't tell me to shove it.
these fucking comics now, like they're the last one we read on the last podcast with like the lesbian scene in it.
Yeah.
I mean, wholly unnecessary for the story, completely. 100%.
Yeah, it was extraneous.
It was not necessary at all.
2 pages.
2 pages
Yeah.
of scissoring.
Yeah. 2 pages.
You could take real scissors and cut those pages out, and you wouldn't betray the story at all.
But here's what they're hoping for. They're hoping that people, like by putting that in there, that then people will talk about it as a point of conflict, thus getting people to talk about like the gratuitousness of it. So hopefully getting readers from being shocking or
And
whatever.
that's
fuck.
the one with the
But
condescending
that's so
dick letter.
overplayed. Yeah.
Yeah, the guy at the end had that condescending, oh, well, I can't work for Marvel, so I had scissoring in my comic.
I don't think the letter was. I want everyone to read that letter. I don't think it was.
You know what? I didn't put my 2 cents in because we were running out of time, but that letter was bullshit. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, it was pretty lame.
Anyway, that was the last. Yeah, I mean, it was.
It was too. I don't know. He was apologizing for not being able to have the same opportunities as his partner. I'm like, what is that? That's disingenuous as fuck. You're being passive aggressive. Like, why are you writing this letter? Like, what's this purpose serving? It's just being, it's sort of like narcissistic. Like,
It was
egotistical
narcissistic. That's
masturbation,
exactly.
yeah.
Yes, thank you.
He was jerking off in the masturbatorium on that page, on those written lines, and I took offense to it because you do that only in the private room that we've allotted to you after you rub that fucking lamp.
Fucking exactly.
Right.
Yeah. But anyways, I didn't like this. Not because of how gratuitous it is, because you can't get away from that now, but that was an aspect. I didn't think there was a whole lot of story to be told here, and I really don't care about it. I don't know. That's my thing.
Yeah, agreed. So, are we going to be getting into what do we have next? I think we covered Rose pretty well. Like one of the only other things I had to mention was the cross hatching on the nose of some of the shadowing. I thought was a little weird, but that would probably be quibbling because it doesn't really have plot value. But
I mean, no, we talk about all aspects of the book.
Yeah.
So you could say whatever you want.
well, yeah, but it's just like sort of artistic choices. I felt like it was inconsistent with how he did the rest of his shadows. Like the art's not bad, but I feel like it could have been a little bit more consistent. Throughout. It doesn't really match.
Yeah. So the next step, what we do, Ziggy, is we go around and we say, like, would you read the next one, or if it's an ongoing series or whatever. So in just like a simple like a yes, no, thumbs up, thumbs down from everybody. So would you read more of it, Chris?
No.
Ziggy?
No, because it's not a genre of my interest in the first place, and so I wouldn't follow up with it because it's not there.
J-Man?
Have you guys ever seen Wizards? I think it's Wizards. Which is a cartoon from the early 80s. It's around the heavy metal type era, and it's very similar to that.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
This was kind of similar to that because it's like the idea of like that. It's like magic has like been banned, and there's like only like one dude who has magic, and that was really similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking. Yeah, holy shit, nostalgia.
Yeah. That movie's really cool. Like to anybody listening, if you're into like heavy metal, check that one out because it's got some weird shit in it too. It has some like actual like Nazi footage in the movie. Like they have like because they like find old Nazi technology at one point, and then it shows like actual clips from like World War II. It's weird.
It's the same company that did the animated Lord of the Rings on Laserdisc, right?
Is it? I don't know. I'm not sure.
I'm almost 100%.
It's like an adult type cartoon.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It was from some of the editors of Heavy Metal and the people that did the Laserdisc version of The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings. And there was a re-release of it on DVD in 2004 that I fucking bought. And that's how I watched it. Which I haven't thought about this since 2005 when it was stolen from me because I really didn't like it all that much. But yeah, you're crazy correct. That's a deep cut right there. All right, bravo.
It's a weird-ass movie.
It is. It's fucking real weird, man.
Yeah. I think Mark Hamill actually does a voice in that, too.
He does.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. Are you looking it up?
No. We're looking for the comment from Lee.
Yeah, because I have to
gonna
get
read
going here in a couple minutes while you guys wrap up this episode. And it didn't work, bud. His phone's fucked.
So Dan's going to read the half the review?
Half the review.
Half the review from Lee, and then Becky's going to read the other half. What'd you get to?
So this is from Lee Bob David Saylor. Thanks for writing this review, man. Really sweet of you. It's long as fuck. Got some time, son. And we appreciate it because we have time for you, too.
Yes.
So this is it. So, you wanted a review, eh? I got one for you. For those who are listening to this review on the podcast, I'm not telling you something you don't already know. This group of humans is entertaining, clever, smart, irreverent, sometimes sober, delirious, and a joy to my ears. That sounded oddly sexual. Sorry about that. This is Lee Bob entirely.
Right.
I'm not adding anything in.
Except for that.
We're not sorry about that, though, Lee Bob.
I'll fuck you.
I feel sexual too, Lee.
It was my friend, one of the humans, who told me about this podcast. I was nervous because I did not want to indulge my inner nerd in any way that would remind me of the torment I suffered as a kid.
Whoa.
We all feel you, Lee Bob.
We're going back.
We all feel you. Fuck those guys.
I'd
You
fuck
know,
you,
you know
Lee.
where they are now, Lee Bob? They're fucking fat, fucking their fat wife with their shitty kids, doing shit that's not even interesting, driving around in a stupid car, and the excitement of their Saturday was
Honda
going to
Odyssey.
Jiffy Lube to get their oil changed so they could work their way over to Giant Eagle to see this one hot cashier who's definitely no older than 17. They're pieces of shit, man.
Whoa, I liked the end there. That's very specific.
But then I listened to their drunken revelry, and I was instantly hooked. I deeply appreciate their wit and candor. I am entertained by their depth of knowledge of the books, of the comic book universe, their bravery in pointing out comics that are good and those that could and should have been better. I look forward to making special trips to Pittsburgh. And that's where I stop, and Becky's going to pick up.
Lampin'.
She's going to read the second half. So Lee Bob, thanks so much, man. You're one of the cool ones. You're one of the ones who got out alive, who didn't succumb to the pressure of those cunts, those bastards. You didn't let them grind you down. You fought the good fight, and now you're with friends here, the humans, the grown-up humans, and. Thanks for listening, man. Thanks for the review.
So Becky's going to finish it as per Lee's request.
Yes, I'm back. Hi, and we have another member joining us today.
Hi, man. Patty's going to sit here with us.
Hello. Yeah. Hi, Patty.
Hello,
We're glad
hello.
to have you. Okay. If I overlap a little bit, sorry. Continuing Lee Bob Saylor's review, The Good Reverend. I deeply appreciate their wit and candor. I'm entertained by their depth of knowledge of the comic book universes, their bravery in pointing out comic books that are good, and those that could and should have been better. I look forward to making special trips to Pittsburgh just so that I can go into the store and talk with whoever is in there. The podcast has matured greatly in a very short time. He hasn't heard the last one yet. I do not mean that they have matured in a way that means that they aren't overgrown children. Okay, I take it back. I mean that they have enveloped a wisdom to share, the ability to do so with intelligence and entertainment and bring in different perspectives to the wonderfully creative world of comics. I guess what I'm trying to say is this. Cheers. So let's cheers to Lee Bob. I
Oh,
think we
cheers,
should
Lee
do that.
Bob.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. He's one of our biggest fans. One of my oldest friends.
There it is.
And he's a pastor. Good luck in your move to Ohio.
Wow. A pastor.
Ohio. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, well,
Lee
he's
Bob's
moving
a
from
pastor?
Huntington, Pennsylvania, to
From where?
the center of Pennsylvania.
Oh. So it's going to be the same. It's the same thing.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
Lateral move.
Yeah.
It's like
Dayton. He's moving to Dayton.
Yeah, it's the same. That's the
same
same thing.
thing. Yeah, that's
It's exactly
Ooh,
the same
Dayton. They have a Cracker Barrel.
thing. They do. They have more than one.
Yeah.
Where's our nearest? Is it Washington? Robinson.
Is there one
It's
in
in
Robinson?
Robinson Township, yeah.
I love going to Cracker Barrel.
Why?
Well, you know, the interesting thing about Cracker Barrel is that they're
It's racist as fuck.
they're one of the only companies besides, I think Walmart also has this policy where you can park an RV in their parking lot and stay there overnight.
Oh, yeah, they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Walmart
Interesting.
has
Yeah, they're one of the
I
only
didn't know
ones. And
that.
I know this because I'm preparing, once I tie up a bunch of bullshit in my personal life and I sell a few things, my goal is to be back on the road and with my pickup truck at a camper and just being that, you know.
Live at Cracker Barrel.
So you
Yeah,
can
pretty
hit
much, yeah.
every Cracker Barrel.
Every Cracker Barrel, one after another.
Or
But no,
Walmart.
that's one of the
Or
things
Walmart,
I'm looking
yeah.
at as I'm traveling. Like, well, where can I pull over and park if I need to randomly? And there's not a rest stop. I know that Cracker Barrel has my back.
You know, I'd never been to a Cracker Barrel. I went down to Kentucky to visit my good friend Miles, and he took me to one. He's like, well, you've got it. It's an American institution. And it took like an hour and a half to get our food, but I have a very
That's very American.
Doctor Who approach to it, and that they have a little shop. I love a little shop. It's they've got some nice shit in there. So.
I hate that little shit.
But you know what? It takes away the boredom. Even I would never buy anything from that little shop, but it took away the boredom of waiting an hour and a half for my food.
I mean, if you desire ugly acrylic sweaters that much,
Well, yeah, but
Yeah,
the kitschiness of it is intrinsically American, where
Indeed.
it's so off base from any sort of like willful audience who would ever want that thing. Yet
Yeah.
somehow they've found a way to make it, because you know, as a giant corporation, it's been cost effective.
Oh, sure.
You know, by having
yeah.
it. It's just somebody's buying that shit.
Yeah.
And so they found that niche market who will buy those poorly knit
Okay,
sweaters.
let's be like none of the people who are sitting at this table are the target audience of the things they sell in the Cracker Barrel. But if you go to a Cracker Barrel,
I take offense to that.
now,
If you go to a
they
Cracker
do sell
Barrel.
large cookware, which is really nice.
Oh,
that
that's
is
fair.
nice, and it's a lot cheaper than like Bed Bath and Beyond. Or,
yeah, my
Shout out Cracker Barrel.
yeah. But
My cast
I will
iron tears
say,
are large.
I think it reaches my mother's. You know, the people who get country living, but from the 1980s. So
Yes.
that's my mother.
That's my mother. Yep.
Yeah,
Also,
High
my
five
mother.
to you.
that is not my mother. No.
Yeah, your mom's cool as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is.
Okay.
So,
Well, thanks for the review, Lee.
yeah, thanks, man.
We really appreciate it.
And-
He posted it He posted it on iTunes, Facebook, and I think one other place.
Nice.
So thank you.
Nice.
And yeah, so if you're listening, as you've heard, we will take your review and probably make it into a long segment of nonsense on the show if you post one. So, go ahead and do that, and we will shout you out and stuff. So let's go to Eleanor and the Egret.
I will be doing this
we
one.
waited specifically for Becky to get
I
back.
know.
She wanted
Thank
to do
you.
this one.
Thank you very much. Because as you remember, I pre-ordered this book. I've been excited about it. It's just because it's so different. You want to know an original thought? Eleanor and the Egret, because it's very different in terms of its art. But it's an Aftershock book written by John Layman and Sam, illustrated, I believe, by Sam Keith. Oh, they're both co-creators. Okay. Rhonda Pattison is the colorist, and John Layman is also the letterer. Okay. The premise of the book is a young lady, and by the way, I don't know if anyone got this, but the time is very odd. She dresses like she's in the Victorians, but
Yeah.
It's kind of inconsistent.
it is inconsistent. But given the scene at the art gallery, which I will explain, these people look like they're Victorians, but there's modern graffiti, and later she's dressed in a modern day pet store with overalls and a backpack.
And they also
and
show that watercolor painting that she immerses herself into.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Eleanor is the main character. She's a young lady who has adopted an egret, which is a large bird, kind of smaller than an albatross, but got her from an egg. And she's at this art gallery, and they're talking about this very expensive painting. And she sneaks the egret in her hat very cleverly. And I love the art and the way they do this. And her and the egret steal the painting for no other reason, just to steal it. And the rest of the book is about the detective who's been hired to investigate the theft, who coincidentally runs into Eleanor at the pet store because he found a feather at the scene of the crime. And I don't know, it's just so different and kind of quirky. And at the very end, the egret eats the painting. Says it tasted like $1 million. Didn't see that coming. It's a very simple presence. It's not a very long book, but I really enjoyed it. It's something different.
Can we address the fact that the Egret is definitely a magical Egret?
Oh yes, he can talk. Well, he ate a painting, but he can talk.
Yeah.
He can. Oh, very very important. He can fashion his bill and into keys.
Yeah.
And pick locks and things like that. And
It seems like he has kind of like reality manipulation powers.
Do you download an app to do that, essentially?
Very quick funny story about this book is that I gave my mother this book to read because she knows I'm into comics and she hasn't read one since Betty and Veronica in the 50s. And I said, Mom, I think you might like this book. It's right up your alley. So she reads it and she gets to the end. She's like, what do you mean to be continued? Well, where's the rest? I'm like, Mom, that's how comic books work. Don't you? I know you used to read Archie. She's like, well, this is bullshit. When's the next one coming out? And at the time, I'm like, 2 weeks. She's like, well, I don't want to wait that long. So finally, a couple days ago, the new one came out. I got it from Dan. And I'm like, Mom, guess what I got? She's like, the next chapter? I'm like, yes, I did. She's like, yes. I've never seen my mother that excited about something. But, I mean, it's a very different... if you notice, there's little pictures inside, kind of the borders and the lettering. It's kind of a beautiful, like watercolored, very different, and the panels themselves are irregularly shaped, which is kind of interesting. But I liked it. It's something different. I've been looking forward to this though, so I'm a little biased.
I think my favorite part was definitely the artwork because it's a really interesting style.
Yeah.
I thought the story was fine. It kind of reminded me of maybe like a Wallace and Gromit type thing, or maybe
a little bit, yeah.
Like it's almost like a very foreign storytelling style. Like very it's kind of French.
That's a really good point.
It felt like not just because
it felt French. Actually, you're absolutely right.
And now that I say that, is it set in France?
They don't specify.
Okay.
The time or the place.
Something about it.
Do we
just
know
felt
the
very
nation of
French.
origin of the artist who drew it?
John Layman's American.
Okay, so he's American. Okay. Yeah. Well, one of the things that I think that actually might be an onus on the editors, like one of the critiques that I had, is that there is a certain page where there is very clearly an artistic style that's up against another image, and it clashes pretty strongly, not because of the artist, but because of the whoever took these images and scanned them and put them and color corrected them and made them into the book, they missed a step. It's towards the beginning, I believe. Can you pull that up? Because it's something that stood out, and then I noticed a few other places throughout the book that also had this. It was like a breakdown in presentation, which I think is something where it's important to specify because it's not the artist's fault. It's the editor for sure.
You don't think it's intentional?
I don't think
Just
it's
pointed.
Go back, if you can go back one. To the left.
Back.
The image, if you look at the resolution of the image of that title on the left and the lettering, and if you look at the actual, like the stippling that they use throughout, the artist uses throughout his style, and the color palette that you typically see on all the rest. I understand there's a contrasting element, but I'm just saying that the way that they tried to contrast it, it seems like a breakdown color correction instead of contrast. You know, so like there are a few points throughout the book where that's something that, like, you know, if I had to quibble, like there were elements like that I saw. I'm like, you know what? I understand that you're trying to contrast a lot of different styles and you're trying to bring that all full circle, considering that it ends with the egret eating the painting, but.
It continues.
Well, yeah, but just because it's consistent doesn't mean it's well articulated. You know what I mean? Like, and that's my critique on it. But I mean, as far as the story, it's a charming story, and the appearance of all the artwork is very charming. Like the illustrator is talented, and has like I feel like it has like a authenticity to it where it's not contrived, and it's actually somebody trying to, like, you know. They're doing their best to tell a good story, and I feel like they generally accomplish it. I just think that the editor could have done a few things in the post-production.
My question is to everybody except for Ziggy and Patty. Why is my copy the only copy on the table of this book?
I brought mine.
Oh shit!
Oh, it's because I mean, it's like as you guys are talking about,
was in my mine's in my bag.
Okay, well, there's one.
I mean, I left mine at home.
Why would you do that?
How dare you?
I don't know. It's never needed.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
I mean,
it is today, but
Give
usually...
me credit, Jared. I usually always bring my copies.
Jared gets a pass because he fucking produces the show. I don't care what he does.
I've never been asked to bring my copies.
Well, okay, all the listeners, I'm asking you, everybody bring their copies all the time.
Yeah, I can do that now, but nobody's ever been like, "Hey, Chris, have you bought your copy?"
Because usually there's like 4 or 5 people who did. Let's say
Yeah.
but right now, it's very pronounced that this is the only copy of this on the table. It's hard to like Patty and I can't even see it.
Yeah.
Right, Chris?
But you can take a look
So-
at it.
yeah,
I will use mine over here.
Okay, there we go.
All right, so real talk. I was real drunk when I read this. I was real. I like not okay. So real talk. This is how drunk I was. I wasn't actually like drunk. Like I wasn't hammered, but I also took a Tylenol PM. So like I was because I knew I had to wake up today, and I was like, man. And I was starting to read it, and I was like, oh, man, like this Tylenol PM isn't really kicking in. And I had another beer, so that was the mentality that I was in. Like I woke up with it on my chest. So
That's what she said.
Yeah.
So that's where I was at with this book. As I wasn't too into it because I couldn't remember a lot about it. But the one thing I was like, how far are you going to go beyond this was my question. And I still think with trying to remember it, and the second one came out, and I know it's a continuing series, but when I tried to really like go over it real fast this morning, like shit, okay, I fell asleep drunk reading this, and I read it again, and I was like, where are you going to go with this?
I think I'm not giving anything away because I read the second one. It involves more types of animals. I'll tell you that.
Oh, really?
Okay.
I mean, well, actually, all you have to do is look at the end of the first comic because they give you a preview of the cover of the next issue.
Yeah.
And it's Eleanor surrounded by, like, basically a menagerie of animals. See?
Right.
Who I'm guessing will also have similar magical powers.
I'm
That's
not
not
gonna-
giving too much away, right?
Maybe, yeah.
But is it a magical world or is it just one magical creature?
I think
guess
it's,
that'd be
That's
obviously,
a good question.
that's an excellent question. I'm still not sure because, I mean, look at the art. We have modern clash with Victorian.
Yeah.
There's mohawks in the middle of
It's
people
very
dressed-
Asian too. I mean, it's very like Japanese watercolor in parts as
Yes.
well. Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
But that's why I like it.
Yeah.
I think there's...
Well, like I said, it's charming. Like it has a charm to it. Like it's something that's definitely its own thing. But I'm not going to just reiterate that the same point I made before.
Well,
but
No, good.
the one page that I think kind of exemplifies that fact is
Yeah.
the mystery of the time and the places. Who is the real Eleanor? And it gives her the modern and then her looking proper, but her also with the aigrette on the top and Victorian dress. It also is asked the question, where are we? When is this?
Sure.
What is this? And
especially the graffiti, like you mentioned before, it sort of creates a question mark that compels the narrative.
Yeah, is Eleanor just a crazy person?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
kind of.
maybe.
I don't know. It was like Animal Farm meets BioShock Infinite. If anybody can make
yes!
those two.
Oh, I love BioShock Infinite. That's a really good comparison, actually.
Yeah, that's really what it was for me, and that's a really
It's
bizarre.
almost like early 1900s, late 1899, with slips of modernism coming through, just like the tears,
I was
which
gonna say,
is
it
exactly what
reminded me
BioShock
of, like,
Infinite is.
Too Loose to if you know Too Loose to Trek, you know the artist from like I guess that was like the turn of the century, like Moulin Rouge and all that shit.
1899.
Yeah, I mean a lot of the use, especially like the specific times where they're showing her dress and we're showing her and her hat and all that stuff. There's a sparseness to the clothing, not the faces so much, but to the clothing, how the clothing's articulated, that I think is very reminiscent of like one of those old French advertisements
Yes.
that were in that sort of style.
I agree. But I love also in the middle of that, there's a guy with a mohawk.
Yeah, I like the fact that the different parts of this are like the art is done in different not just styles but different with different mediums. Like it looks like a lot of the titles are kind of like colored pencil almost.
Yeah, there's definitely pencil mixed with like some watercolor and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really cool. And then there's some like more modern stuff in here. There's more in fact, when she's dressed more modern, it looks the coloring is a little more modern.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like it might have been computer assisted or something.
And I wonder if that's the breakdown because John Layman and Stan Keith co-created this, but John Layman also did the lettering. So I wonder if that's a clash
okay.
between their two styles.
Yeah, that might be. Actually, that's a really good point. I'd actually bank on that because it looked like there was a similar enough medium for the titles compared to the images, but overall there wasn't. There needed to be a little bit more consistency because after a while it got distracting. I thought it got a little bit distracting. because I kept on noticing it, and that was sort of like
I didn't notice that.
off a little bit.
What do we
I
think
don't
is what do we think is actually happening here, like in this book?
Well, the egret's very accomplished. It can do a lot of things.
Right.
And so you can agree on that.
I think it's just a different reality.
Okay. Do we think that they're
Like Dreamscape? Like, what do you think?
I think it's just an alternate reality, or maybe sometime in the future where they've kind of got that nostalgic fashion that's in vogue, but they still use modern day technology.
Okay.
We forgot to mention that there are laser beams protecting the art gallery.
Right.
And
So
the
that means
Egret-
it came from at least 1890, you know,
Yeah,
going by the actual dating of technology.
But, you know, she's also wearing Ugg boots-ish, and cut-off shorts, and a trucker hat. So things that didn't come in till
2 to
the
3 are
90s.
okay.
Yeah.
It says who is the real Eleanor? Like, what's actually going on here? Is some of this real? Is like the Egret a figment of her imagination, like to some kind of?
Well, see, that brings back my question of, like, is it a magical world or just a magical creature? Because if it's just a magical creature, then that means it could be within the like a dreamscape context of like some sort of like hallucination. But if it's a magical world, that means there are going to be other types of magical creatures that it still could be part of a hallucination. But
Didn't the cat also have some kind of power or something?
Well,
Oh, really?
The cat is the investigator's pet, and he's sniffing out suspiciously.
oh yeah, that's right. Yes,
Yeah, he
yes,
sniffs
yes.
out the egret.
And so that seems like almost like a foreshadowing to like some sort of larger role as far as it actually
the
also
animals
coming
do.
into the narrative. Yeah, for sure.
I like the prologue too. I mean, where she's
Well, that's a beautiful image too.
Oh, yeah.
The prologue's a very beautiful
and
image.
she finds
Well
the
done.
egg, which is presumably the egret, and in the middle of like the swamps of sadness, like in
That'd be a hell of a twist if that wasn't the Egret. If the later on you see that like she's looking at the egg and the Egret walks up behind her. Is like, what'd you find? You're like, whoa, what the fuck is
that would be
happening?
great.
Whoa,
Yeah. Well,
very M. Night Shyamalan of you. Said.
I like it.
Chris? Anybody else? Chair? J-Man? What do you think?
So now can we talk about Southland
Well-
Tales?
Jesus.
Well, actually,
We have to go around and see if we read it again.
Jared?
No, I'm just kidding.
Chair's gonna
that's
say-
okay. Just do it when you go around.
Okay. Chris, would you read it? Read
I,
it more.
I honestly I like the concept. I want to read it, and I just don't. I don't.
Okay.
That's just my thing.
Ziggy?
I will say that it's not specifically my genre, but if I saw a second issue come out, like if it were to cross my path, I'd definitely pick it up and look at it.
Yeah.
But just out of a curiosity, which is a great way to hook an audience, because there's enough curiosity there that since there's an imprecise nature of the introduction, that it does compel you to be like, okay, well, what the fuck is this all about? Yeah, as a reader, it makes you want to like look a little bit further, look a little bit more closely. So I probably would say yes, I would read a second issue.
Yeah. Becky?
I already bought the second issue.
Confirmation
hard
bias.
yes.
My mom already read the second issue.
It's a hard
But yes,
yes.
I like this a lot.
Okay. J-Man?
One thing that Dan said to me when I went to pick this up, which I don't know if anybody realized it or if they know about it or cares, is that the artist for this did a cartoon in the mid '90s for MTV called The Max.
Oh.
And that was
Really?
Get
No
the
way.
yeah, that's the
Same
guy.
guy?
Yeah, this is the same dude.
Whoa.
This looks completely fucking different. If anyone's
Yeah.
seen
Yeah.
the Max, and I didn't really even know what that was because he's like, "Oh, this dude did the Max."
Was
You
it
remember
him with a
that?
team of artists for the Max? I'm guessing because that could be the
Oh yeah,
disparity.
he's one of the few.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It used to come on right before Syphil and Ollie.
I'm pretty sure that was like his whole deal. Like that guy created that whole
Nice.
that character and that whole concept, and he did this too. But
Wow.
this looks completely fucking different than that. Like art wise, holy shit.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, maybe for the Max, he was like the art director and led a team of artists.
Yeah.
And so that creates a different look than if you're actually the person who's drawing it out yourself, right?
Right.
So that could account for like the visual difference, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But I mean, I'd be interested to see a comparison as far as the sensibility of like the plot trajectory of that, and also the imagery that was in the Max. And I'm sure there's correlations of themes, you know.
Yeah. Jared, was that a yes or no? Would you read it?
Probably not.
No? Patty, are you interested in reading this?
Actually, yes.
Okay.
It looks interesting.
Here, you can borrow mine.
I think last week I was at I guess the Wednesday I was at the comic book shop, and I didn't get the second issue, but I was kind of in a rush. I don't know. I didn't really. I saw it, but I was like, maybe next time. So yes or no. I don't know. Maybe for me.
You really are trying to curb back your purchase.
I'd buy like way too many comic books. Like it takes me forever to read them. So
I mean, fucking shit or get off the pot. What do you think about this?
Well, I didn't get the second issue. So.
If we were in ancient Rome and we were weighing in on a gladiator, living or dying, as we're going with the paradigm that our viewers can't see,
Actually,
with the
you know
thumb
what?
up or down,
If this were between
death,
like if it were like
life
this
or death,
or a
what is
different
this?
comic that I wanted to.
I'm going to stop you here. I want you to jerk off first.
Oh yeah,
Jerk off and think about
that's
it.
mandatory. Yeah,
Good point. I can't.
Yeah.
because there are boobs in this book. So
Yeah.
I mean,
there you go.
Not
go have a moment and then
To be continued.
Yeah.
Go rub the lamp.
and we're back.
One thing I will
Probably
say,
wouldn't take
just because you see so many, what I call the superhero body, the really teeny tiny crazy waist and the huge boobs.
Yeah.
Eleanor's got a frankly average
Like
body.
a normal person body. Yeah.
And
That was one of the things that I liked about it.
I like
she
her
looks like
too.
a normal person.
She's not Faith, the superhero who's obese, but she's just average. And I like that you can
Yeah.
see her, a little bit of chub underneath her dress, but she's average.
Yeah. She has like a little extra chin, chin and a couple. I like one. There was one frame that was really like it wasn't pronounced, but it was very obvious. Like the artist made her like not. She's not thin.
Right. But she's not fat.
No, she's not.
She's
fat.
average.
She's in the middle.
Yeah.
All right. So
Okay.
I guess we can. We'll stop this episode because we're going to do the Batman thing next. So we'll have a Batman Flash crossover. We're going to talk about just all by itself. So
Cool.
Yeah, we'll see you guys on that episode. You can find us at grownuphumans.com. We're about to release the blog page on our site. So if you like the show, you can go on and we each have our own ability to write blog posts. So keep an eye out for that at grownuphumans.com. Epicastnetwork.com/grownuphumans. Shout out to Epicast, Buzzy, Nick, all the Epicast family people up there. We all work really well together, and we always have a good time when we hang out. And everyone there was pretty cool. So, iTunes, Stitcher, Facebook, YouTube, Grown Up Human Comic People, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram at Grown Up Humans. As you heard earlier, if you write a review, we'll read it on the show. And Ziggy, you want to tell us where we can find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at ZSDust.
Cool.
Not Facebook, though, right?
No. I don't want to talk to you on Facebook because it's a flawed medium and it only brings up dissent and controversy needlessly. And
Can I talk to you on Facebook? If I DM'd you?
I might consider it.
If I sent you my dick?
Well, of course.
All
But
right.
it has to have the pre-specified monocle that we agreed on
And top
earlier.
hat.
And
Damn
top
straight.
hat. Yes. All right.
Yesterday was sent.
that goes out to
I
all
can't
of our
believe this
listeners.
exists,
Send
but
them all to me.
National Send a Nude Picture of Yourself.
Oh, yes.
What?
That happened
Wow.
yesterday.
Yeah.
National Send Nudes.
Yeah.
Wow.
People just. How does
glad
this
I was left
happen?
out.
Besides these, I don't know. Goodbye.
Anybody can decide that.
Yeah, that starts as like a faux pas hashtag, and then gets brought into some sort of conscious oh well, I guess this is trending, so now I talk about it.
Yeah.
It's like it's like a confirmation bias of anyway.
Anyway, so I'll go around the table. Everybody say goodbye. Chris, Ziggy,
Goodbye.
Becky,
Bye.
Jared,
See ya.
Patty.
Bye.
Everybody have a good whatever time it is for you. And,
Human comic people! Grown-up human comic people!
Epicast.